to another episode of the 920 Show. I am here with Katie as usual. What's up?
Nothing. I'm in a great mood today.
It's been a great day, and I bet you're in a great day, in a great mood because of the sun.
And the merch.
The merch. We are in the Edge VR studios, of course. Check it out. Check it out.
This is my
let me
name.
get mine.
Nick has the same one.
I
He's
do.
just not holding it up.
Look at this.
Iconic.
We are part of the Edge VR team officially now.
Love that for
You
us.
want to know a funny story? The folks over at Edge VR were nice enough to get us these jerseys, so we felt like an official member of the team. We'll just go ahead and wrap that around the mic, like so. I'm trying. Oh, you know what? I'll do it this way. Okay. Look at this.
Oh, my word.
Boy.
Okay, it's giving millennial. Put it down.
Okay. No. Oh, I couldn't get it to stick. So Katie and I have talked a lot about how here at Edge VR we've tried the VR experience. It's super cool. I want to do some more. I'm going to bring my kids. It's a whole thing that I'm getting into.
It's a whole thing of a
But I'm not like a real big video gamer. Like I don't have one at home. And the guy, the gentleman here at Edge VR, no, both of the gentlemen, Sean and the
gentlemen.
yes. They were letting us know that they were going to get us these awesome presents, and they were like, "What's your gamer tag?" And I was like, "You mean like my Twitter at?"
At Katie.
I had no idea. But even if you aren't a gamer, you can have a ton of fun here at Edge VR because you can learn all about VR and experience all sorts of different things. Also, there's some cool stuff coming up here at Edge VR.
Summer
camps. Yes. What was the other thing Sean shouted out?
Sean, where you at, my man?
Birthday parties. Birthday parties. What a cool place to have a birthday party,
Yeah,
actually.
No kidding.
I should see if Maddie would want to do that. Her birthday's coming up.
Yeah,
And she's doing I know. And she's doing a sleepover. Maybe we could come to Edge VR.
That's a vibe.
How many people can come for a birthday party? A lot. He says a lot.
Nice.
Okay, very customizable. All right. Well, looks like I'm going to have a conversation with Sean about somebody's
Get it done,
birthday
Nick. Get it done.
They can do a whole bunch of VR.
Yeah.
Oh, they would love 10-year-olds love fighting zombies, right?
Yeah.
Love that. Let's rock.
All right.
Yeah. So we're going to be quick in the intro today because we had a very long fun
guest.
Like we were talking after the interview. I think this was one of the, all of our guests are spectacular, but I'm a natural curious person and I had no idea about.
This is stuff we knew nothing about.
I ask a lot of dumb questions in this interview. So be ready for that.
But
if you are an animal expert, you will be infuriated with me during this interview because we have Carmen, the executive director at the new zoo and adventure park, talking all things this canopy tour.
I'm just shook to my core about the whole thing. I am going tomorrow.
Yeah.
I cleared my schedule.
That's how this interview went. It got over and Katie was like, so clear my schedule tomorrow. going to the zoo to get some content.
Exactly.
But before we get to Carmen's interview and conversation real quick, happy National Travel and Tourism Week.
Whoa.
It is the 40th anniversary of National Travel and Tourism Week. We hosted what I think will likely be the last public hurrah at the Visitor Center before we cut the ribbon.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Okay. I was like, what do you mean? We still have to cut the ribbon,
yeah.
Nick.
No, before we cut the ribbon and open to the public, obviously we'll bring some people in and that sort of thing, but we brought the media in for a tour and checked it all out. It is a whole thing. Katie's debating offices.
Yeah, it's a thing of a thing. Do I pick 2 windows or 1? I don't know. I don't know. A lot of pros and cons.
It's your choice. It is your choice. Okay. Roll the dice, but when you pick it, you can't switch.
Who says?
Me.
Why?
Because I make the rules.
See, normally my personality, I would pick in the middle. But you chose that.
I didn't choose that.
You couldn't have picked left or right. I never go high or low. I always go middle. That's just what I do.
So on a survey, what do you do if it's having to
neutral.
Like an even number? Like what if it's like the 1 is best, 6 is?
I think to myself.
Do you circle 3 and 4?
I think to myself, okay, was this a little bit above what I was anticipating? And if it was, then I circle 4. If not, then I circle 3. I always pick the middle number.
You need to learn to live on the outsides.
I know. I'm a terrible gambler.
This is going to take you out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to be either next door to our CEO.
I don't mind that.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Or next to the reception area.
With only one window.
But
bigger office space. Less room for my plants.
Less room for your less light for your plants.
More room for my plants, less light for my plants.
Yeah.
I could go vertical though. Well, pending.
Okay. All right. The other thing that we want to touch on before we get into this conversation with Carmen is the event we were at this morning. I think we can officially say it is summer. We attended, and I actually spoke at in my Nikes.
Everyone's wearing dress shoes. Nick rolls up in his Nikes. I'm like, dude, go off.
Steve Jobs did a turtleneck, so he didn't have to decide every day. I wear Nikes every day, so I don't have to make a decision on shoes.
But TBH, same. Yeah. I wear Nikes quite a bit too.
You know what? Who doesn't stand next to the mayor in Nikes?
We're marketing people. It doesn't matter.
Exactly. And my bright shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking good up there. So we had an event announcing the press conference of announcing all of the events that we had talked about 2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
With Jen and Brooke, the On Broadway and the Downtown Green Bay Inc. event announcement. So when Jeff was up there, he was like, we have 60 some events this summer. And then when Brian was up there, he was like, we have more than 40. I was like, you guys have 100 events?
Screaming, crying, throwing up. How am I supposed to do that every weekend?
I don't know. It
sounds like we need to hire another marketing person.
Oh. It sounds like we do. Should we throw them on?
Am I dropping hints?
I think you are, but I'm kind of having a serious conversation. Can we sidebar? Sidebar.
Do we bring him on?
Do we have him on the first week?
We should. We gotta take up his time somehow. Vibey.
More to come. So stay tuned to the 920 show for the very big decision on Katie's office and a marketing intern. Breaking news. No, it was a great event. It was a great announcement. Tons of fun stuff. Art Fest is going to be great. The Ignite Market is back. The Levitt Amp concert series is going to be huge.
Comedy on the Deck.
Comedy on the Deck is a new thing. Macbeth. Henceforth, Macbeth. Shakespeare. I don't know. I made it up. I don't know Macbeth.
You're doing your best.
Yeah.
Okay.
So make sure to check that out. They have a guide with all of their summer events available at all of the downtown coffee shops. It is also online at downtowngreenbay.com. So make sure to check out all the great events. It is summer in the city, man.
Yeah.
So Wednesday farmers markets are back. I said Ignite markets. Saturday farmers market. Fridays on the Deck.
Sundays,
comedy on the Deck.
Levitt series
on Sundays.
Honestly, if you can't find something to do, you're dumb.
Yeah. I mean, you're just not trying.
Yeah.
I don't know about dumb. Just lazy maybe is a different word.
Whoopsies.
Yeah, it's all good. All right. Well, we are we need to get outside and go touch some grass or something.
Yeah,
it is
I need
gorgeous
to
out. So enjoy the conversation with Carmen, executive director over at the new zoo. And, of course, make sure to go check them out. The adventure park is amazing. I can guarantee you haven't been to the canopy tour in the summer because it's never existed before. Go check it out and listen to all of the interesting animal facts from Carmen. Welcome into the guest segment here at the 920 show. And as Katie and I have just talked about, we are here in Green Bay on a beautiful summer day.
We had lunch outside.
We had lunch outside. It was a whole vibe.
Whole thing of a thing.
It was delicious. Once again, we are in the Edge VR studios. Make sure to come check it out for if you're a gamer, if you're not a gamer, if you just want to have some fun. Edge VR studios on Packerland Drive in Green Bay. Birthday parties.
And summer camps.
You're
welcome, Sean. Yeah. That was me.
Today, our special guest is a little bit wild, I would say.
Yeah.
Ayo! Honey! We have Carmen Murach with the new zoo and adventure park, not just the zoo, the adventure park as well.
That's right. We've got it all.
Welcome to the 920 show.
Thanks. I'm glad to be here. This is awesome.
Yeah, This is going to be super fun. One of my favorite summer staples. I have a 9 and a 6-year-old. I just realized it's going to be 10 and 7. Oh, no.
Why can I literally read you like a book?
Oh, no. I'm going to have a 10-year-old in May. We'll bring her to the new zoo many times this summer. They absolutely love it. And we'll get into all of it, but I do have to say, before we kick off, and I have a bunch of questions. I know Katie wants to know all about the animals. We got pictures from one of our photographers who was out there when the canopy tour opened.
Mm-hmm.
Just how cool is that?
It's amazing. It's really, it's a whole different view of things. It's, you're up above it starts at the historic, near the historic fire tower, at the adventure park end of things. It brings you up through the treetops, some beautiful views from up there, some great graphics about the history of the place. And then it brings you over the zoo. You go past the lions, who find it very interesting. They'll actually
you go above the lions.
You don't go like right over them because we can't have people feed them shoes and whatnot.
That's fair.
But it does go right past them, so you get a good view of them.
That's crazy.
Then it comes, in fact, right over top of the penguin exhibit. And the penguins also are like, hey, who's that up there?
What's going on?
And you go right over top of the pools and the birds, and then the next area is past the snow leopards. We're working on that exhibit right now and actually adding some things so they'll be able to be up there kind of walking alongside of you. Then it comes around, it goes past the snow macaques, the snow monkey exhibit. We've got a little 2-year-old snow monkey in there who loves this. She's if there are people up there, she's up as high as she can get to.
Can they get up to it?
They're not far from you. They come right up to see you. We're actually right now working. Our zoological society is they're amazing fundraisers, and they're coming up with all sorts of things for us. But we've actually are close to being able to install a separate little walkway for the monkeys themselves, so they'll be able to walk alongside you up there. But even as it is now,
Carmen, this sounds so
little Tatsu, who's our little girl, she is up there interacting with people. So it's lots of fun.
I cannot wait to bring my kids there this summer. I saw the pictures and I was just like, this is, even in the winter, the photos we got were incredible. Did we should share those with you?
You have. And
okay.
We have absolutely stolen those and used those on our website because they are amazing. They're great pictures.
Actually, I just did our annual report, and the one with the little girl with the snow coming down on the canopy tour, and she's looking up into the sky. Beautiful. Like that's the cover of our annual report this year.
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is absolutely stunning. So we'll get more into all of the attractions, but we also like to get to know our guests a little bit here on the 920 show before we get into the nitty gritty of all the fun stuff going on at the new zoo. I am 100% super curious at how one becomes a zoo director.
Oh yeah, it was yeah.
Me too.
Because suddenly I find myself a zoo director.
Yeah.
And it was not actually necessarily in the plans.
Yeah.
I in school, I just liked biology. That was my interest in life, and I always did want to work in conservation. That was important to me.
Oh, sure.
So, when I got to college, I studied what was interesting to me, which was genetics and conservation and all sorts of sciencey kind of things, and nature-y things. Yeah. And actually worked at the UW-Madison for about a decade as a research scientist. I can give an injection to a fruit fly.
What?
I can give an injection to a giraffe. I'm
just talented.
I can do it all.
I guess so.
So
what about a human?
Yeah, what about a human?
Sure, why not?
I'll do my best.
But so what did you do?
So I started out at UW as a research scientist, working with a mutagenics lab. Wow. And started volunteering at the zoo at that point because that was a job where was sort of managing the lab, able to make my own hours a little bit, so I could free up myself some time to go help at the zoo. So I started doing zoomobiles for Henry Vilas Zoo. And happened to be there one day when, what was the first? I think the first thing was a little pot-bellied pig. Needed some care, needed a little orphan piggy, needed someone to take it home and take care of it. And I'll do that.
In her house, you got to have a pig.
You might break Katie today. She's gonna just overcome she's just gonna overcome with the cuteness and like implode.
And from there, eventually there was a little gazelle, It was Inky. She was in an incubator. So
Oh, that's so cute. So you brought her home and
yep. Kept her healthy and got her going, and eventually she resided at the zoo there. And also, early on there was a little gazelle whose mother unfortunately died in childbirth, and we're able to save this practically neonatal little critter. And but anyway, that's how it started. I already had wildlife rehab experience under my belt, but started doing that, and then eventually took on my vacation time at the lab a seasonal position at the zoo. And then when they had when they had a full-time zookeeper position opened up, I decided that sounded good.
So what is the day in the life of a zookeeper look like?
It's having lots of little animal friends, which is nice. It's nice because you develop very close relationships with the animals you care for. Most zoo animals are born at the zoo and live their whole lives there. There's a little bit of, back and forth between zoos. We're all part of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and there are very well managed breeding programs. You don't want to just
absolutely,
one pair have all the babies. You want to make sure you're keeping the population in captivity as close as possible to the wild animals, so that if there is an opportunity to release into the wild, you haven't changed the species.
My brain is small, and I think of things in very specific ways. Is there how NFL trades? Do you guys do like animal trade? Like, I'll give you the first round pick for 2 seconds and a fourth.
There is usually for each species in an AZA zoo, there is somebody in charge of the entire population. This is one thing wonderful about working with the AZA. It's not just one little place with their little group of animals. It's the whole population. And for instance, I'm in charge of black-necked stilts for all of the AZA. They're a really pretty little bird. So when some are hatched, I make the recommendations. We work with, there's a population management center. There's a lot of science that goes into it, but we make determinations on which birds would be the best to breed. Then we got to figure out how to get them to where they're going. Pretty easy with the little stilt. Much more of a challenge if you're talking giraffes. Move them across the country.
What do they do? Just hop in the semi? Like
special trailer. And,
they sit shotgun. Sit shotgun. Head out the passenger window. He's doing the honk sign to the truckers.
Every time I think of zoos, I think of crap. What's that movie?
We Bought a Zoo.
No, it's a cartoon movie.
Oh,
Madagascar.
Madagascar. That's like the first thing I think about.
Yep. That has.
I wonder if they actually talk. Do they talk?
When after you
that
guys
would be
well, if you know them well,
they're telling you.
You understand them. You can communicate for sure.
What is something surprising? And we'll get into your time as and how you got to Northeast Wisconsin and stuff like that. But I'm the zookeeper as a profession is I have so many questions.
So abstract. I just want to know all the things.
What is So, we see, obviously there's movies about zoos and there's the zookeeper kind of persona, but what is something that people wouldn't expect that's really, really cool about being a zookeeper? You know what I mean? We see what what's kind of presented in media, but what's something that you guys do that's super fulfilling and cool that people don't see?
Yeah, well, I think that whole conservation aspect, most zookeepers I know that that's their main focus. I mean, of course we all love animals and love to have a job where we work with animals. In actual fact, a whole lot of your day is cleaning and scrubbing. It's not just hugging cute baby animals,
right?
But again, you develop these very close relationships with these animals, and that's super cool.
Yeah,
and the work you put in is really significant for some endangered species.
Absolutely.
These animals might not survive if you don't know what you're doing and are good
That's
at
an
it and communicate with the animals.
And
wow.
So it takes a lot, and all of our zookeepers do have degrees in biology of some sort. They're it's not just feeding and cleaning. It's you need to be able to feed and clean many of these animals. You have to know so much and so much more beyond what you learn in school too.
Right.
And a lot of it is this communication with the animals. You have to, if you need to go in there with the elk and bison, you better know what that means. just dipping your head a little bit, if you're standing in the right position, is saying, I want to fight.
Put them up. Put them up. Yeah.
You know,
that's crazy.
Rude if potentially very dangerous. So you have to think about so much of what you're projecting to the animals, and also reading what they're saying very subtly to you. So, I mean, and that's to be able to have close enough relationships with these animals that you can really understand them like that, I think it's really
art.
cool.
Yeah, that's
definitely.
Awesome. So I think I'm going to ask a question that everyone who like goes to a zoo always wonders. And I'm so happy that I finally get someone to ask this question to. What is going through your head when you step into a lion enclosure or a tiger enclosure or some of these like big predatory animals? What is that headspace like for you?
Well, you know, first you have gone through numerous checks and double checks and triple checks that the animal is where the animal should be, and that all the locking mechanisms between you and the animal are where they should be. We have a double lock system and 2 people involved, so it's nobody's responsibility to, you know, you can't, you try to set things up as much as possible that mistakes can't happen. Of course, human error is always a potential issue, but, you know, again, these relationships with animals are very important to us. And I'm certainly good friends with our lions. They know me, I know them. We know things about each other.
You're the first person I can ever say. I am friends with somebody who's friends with a lion.
But we don't ever go in with a lion.
Yeah.
That makes
Okay.
sense.
We don't even reach in and scratch him behind the ear. The potential for something going wrong is just too great. We have a back scratcher. If there's a kitty who that's their favorite thing in the world, of course we scratch it behind the ear, but not with our hands and fingers.
Yeah, okay.
Too easy to lose those. I tell people, I don't know that I'd want to be in the room with my domestic kitty cat if she were the size of a lion. She loves me. She's
But it's
sweet,
an animal still.
But when she's really happy, she's a cat, and there's a little bit of that evil.
Yeah.
You know, every once in a while you just feel those claws. And you never know. If someone gets a cramp, someone a bee sting, you know, just that instant lashing out thing. You know, it would be so easy for a big, powerful, dangerous animal to, you know, just kind of react and then like, oopsie, sorry about that.
There goes your arm.
But yeah, the repercussions are so great that you there's no reason to take those chances. I mean, it's kind of, it would be a selfish thing to hug a lion. They don't need you hugging them or, again, scratching them behind the ear with your fingers. They don't hug each other. That's not something that makes sense to lions to be hugged.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to chuff at you. They do that rubbing thing. You know, you can get all that in without having to be touchy-feely.
For sure.
So.
That's awesome. I know. That's so cool. Where's the line of enclosures you'll go into and interact with the animals and ones you won't? Is there a weight limit? Like
no,
power?
It's not. It has a lot to do. I mean, you know, the large carnivores, the large dangerous carnivores who, again, where it's so instinctual for them. If you had a very happy, friendly lion, every bit as sweet as your house cat, and you tripped and stumbled, I mean, their brains just go to pounce.
Yeah.
Again, act first, ask questions later.
Absolutely.
So the carnivores, you know, with the bobcat, we typically don't go in with even animals like that because there's no need to. These one misconception people sometimes have about zoo animals is that they were stolen out of the wild and thrown into a cage. Almost every animal at the zoo was born at a zoo and raised around people and understands that people are social beings and can have thoughts and feelings just like they can. They know that about us. Occasionally we have some animals who might have come in a rehab situation, usually as orphans. So they grew up around all this. So say something like a bobcat, we train, we work with them a lot and train them. They do things, they're trained to come up and present their shoulder so you can give them a shot, just to make that easy and happy and a nice experience. So, you know, they get a reward. So they end up thinking
Right.
Yeah.
that's worth their
That's
while.
worth
Right.
They
The
get to,
ROI is
they
there,
get
as
to
you
Yeah.
would say.
yes, they get to choose whether to participate in something like that or not. So you get away from all that grabbing and holding them down
Yeah.
and torturing
Sure,
them. And,
sure.
so because of all that training, it's very easy to ask the bobcat to please come inside so I can go out in your yard. No need to share the same space. Now, if we have to go into if the bobcat is feeling ill and just can't bring herself to go inside, we can go in there with her. If it came down to a fight with a bobcat,
Yeah.
you'd have a chance of surviving that. So
Not the odds I'm willing to play.
no, not
I'm a very slow runner.
not
I'll be
something you
honest.
want
right.
to do
Oh,
just
you know
for
what?
fun. And
You don't have to be as fast as the bobcat, just faster than the other person.
and
Sorry.
Oh my word.
so for I guess one example of an animal we go in with that is a carnivore and some people might consider dangerous. Our badger, our American badger exhibit is not set up in such a way that it's easy to ask them to
And
shift
we're from
off
Wisconsin,
exhibit.
so they're like friendly to us.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
they know us.
Yeah.
They
They know
know
us.
the
We're
people
friends.
they know, and they and that works out fine.
Yeah.
We don't want them climbing up our legs, or
Yeah.
we try not leave a little space. Like,
Yeah, and still, you just respect
just
them.
in
They're
case.
animal.
Be respectful to
and-
them. They're respectful back, so it works out.
So Carmen, you can kind of see how we roll on the 920 show here. We try to take a linear path
Yeah, it
with
just
that sort of
goes
thing, and then we
all over.
have these kind of
We have a lot of fun.
yeah, we kind of split off into these weird random thoughts. But let's get back to you were the zookeeper down in Madison.
Yep.
How'd you end up making your way to the Green Bay area?
Well, my family is from this area. My parents were raised up around these parts north of Green Bay. So I actually, much of my childhood was spent in St. Louis, but we would come up to northern Wisconsin on vacation. So I always really, really liked this area and hope to get back here. So I was up here and checked out the zoo. Heard they had a new guy coming in to change things here at the new zoo. Neil Anderson was. They were right about to bring him on board and head this place towards AZA accreditation. So decided that I'd like to come up here and give this a try. So I actually saved up a little money, moved up here, started volunteering at the zoo, get my foot in the door.
Nice.
And,
Wow, I didn't know
And
that.
here I am, director somehow.
Can you just
Yeah.
volunteer at the zoo whenever?
Please come and volunteer at the zoo. We need volunteer. We always need help at the zoo.
I
We've
had
got
no idea that was a thing.
what
lots-
kind of volunteer opportunities do you have at the
Yes.
zoo?
all sorts of things. We have some volunteers who actually just help with some data entry type stuff.
That sounds like your kind of thing,
yeah,
Katie.
that's not what you're looking for, right? We have people who help us out. One of the most fun volunteer opportunities is working with the giraffes. We have the big woods all around us.
Yep.
The reforestation camp. We're able to get all kinds of nice, healthy browse to feed our giraffes. And what we do is we gather that. We actually need volunteers to help section that up into appropriate portions to be able to feed the giraffes.
Sure.
We sell that as a little money maker, and it's great for the giraffes. That kind of replicates what giraffes do in real life. They spend their whole day looking for a leaf here and a leaf there and plucking them off the trees. So we have figured out a way to have people pay us to be the tree and stand there and hold the leaves.
Hey,
That'd be so
you know
fun.
what? That is one of the best investments. Like that experience is so cool.
So
It's very cool.
core memory.
Yeah,
Let me
there
see,
you
let me
go.
see.
Dated, 2007. This is me at the zoo. My
Oh,
mom
Aw.
posted it on Facebook and it's still on there. How cute
There
is
you
that?
go. Yep.
Core
And-
memes. Feeding
Yeah.
a giraffe at the zoo.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's great for the giraffes. Again, that's a healthy way to feed them. They like the interaction, but to supervise that, we use
You need
volunteers.
to volunteer, yeah, for sure.
And it's fun because the giraffes, if you're a giraffe volunteer, you're there, once a week, every couple of weeks. They know you.
yeah,
I
absolutely.
watch those giraffes look out the window of their building and see a volunteer they know coming through the front doors, and even follow them if they walk
Oh,
past the
that's
zoo.
so
The giraffes know those people and they pick them out. Most people, the giraffes kind of view as food machines.
yeah, okay,
Yeah.
sure.
but the ones that are
But
always
the volunteers, those are their friends.
That's so cute.
It's cool. Yeah. And
Are
the
you gonna go become
volunteers
a giraffe
volunteers who work with the giraffe feel so close to the giraffes, obviously.
Yeah.
And they are helpful to the zookeepers too, because they spend a lot of time with, even on a slow day that we don't have many, we do it through the winter. Even if there aren't many visitors there, that's still nice for the giraffes to have that person to interact with and talk to all day. And so it's great for the giraffes, and it's a fun opportunity. For most of the giraffe volunteers, the giraffes are part of their family. They show up in their Christmas letters. So that's one great opportunity. We also need people doing a similar service in our children's zoo, hanging out with the goats and the cows and the alpacas, and helping people one thing we're focusing on a lot recently is empathy. We feel that, if you can have that connection with the animals and understand them as social beings and not just, objects, playthings to entertain us, that if you develop that relationship, that's just so useful for children and adults alike to be able to view the natural world as, important and worth saving. And so just having people down there to help people make that connection, to say, hey, this is Kilimanjaro, and this is, to know which goat is which and which one
There's a goat named Kilimanjaro?
to know.
It just keeps getting better.
Yeah, and these volunteers, they know these animals well. They spend more time with them than I do. And so they develop friendships with these animals and can help tell people about them. And so we definitely, in order to have our children's zoo open for people to be able to get close to those animals and touch them, we do have to have supervision there. That's something that's changed in the last few years. Again, this is part of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, very high standards for animal welfare, and that's a change that's come about, that we need to make sure there's someone supervising anytime humans can get right up face to face with the animals, just to make sure nobody pulls any nonsense. Which means if we don't have volunteers there to be there to interpret and talk about the animals, but also keep an eye out for any shenanigans going on. That we're not able to have that
they learn to
area
tell,
open,
like you said, they get to know the animals. They learn to tell, like, okay, maybe let's back off of this one a little bit.
Yes.
Let's talk to Kilimanjaro instead.
So definitely we always need volunteers for that sort of thing, and so many other things too, for maintenance projects. There's just no end to the things that we need help with at the zoo.
Where is there somewhere like a web page on your site that people can go learn about that?
Newzoo.org. Just check that out. That'll tell you all about volunteer opportunities and how to sign up.
That sounds so fun.
Well, sounds like you know what you're going to be doing.
Can I do it after work?
We're open till 6.
Till 6.
So depending on when you get off of work.
2 hours here and there, you'll bond with some animals.
Absolutely.
For sure. Anyway. So you started on as a zookeeper at the new zoo and working with Neil, correct?
Yep.
In your time together working at the new zoo and working, now as the executive director, what is like one thing that you're really, really proud of, and how did it come to be?
Well, I think what I am most proud of was that attaining AZA accreditation.
That's a big deal.
Which was that, and that continues to be a big deal. We're actually coming right up on the new cycle. Every 5 years, you have to reapply, submit just huge amounts of paperwork. The application itself is just gigantic.
Yeah, we were just talking to the folks over at the Neville about they just went through their 5-year accreditation as well. And
just so many policies, and again, we're really focusing on animal welfare, but they also want to be sure that you are doing a good job for your guests, that your guests have clean bathrooms available and food options, and they look at our educational programs very closely. That's important. They make sure that that our zoo is doing its part to contribute to conservation efforts, because it's not only about the animals at the zoo, but the animals that are out in the wild as well. We're definitely involved in projects there. We send staff out to help with conservation projects in the field whenever we can. We send money to projects. There's just a lot involved with the application itself, and we're coming right up now, not too far off. They'll spend 3 days. A team of inspectors will spend 3 days at the facility going through everything with a very fine-tooth comb. So I'm
sure that's an intense process.
It's intense,
for you.
and it's a lot.
Yeah. It's like being audited.
Yeah.
Yes. It's very intensive.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's good. It's good to have
it's
those.
absolutely,
sure.
And this is how the AZA makes sure that there are high standards for animal welfare and conservation and
Absolutely.
education, that all those things are met. So I think that was hugely significant. It took a lot of work for that first cycle through. It continues to be, every cycle there are more standards to meet. So
awesome. Do you have any other questions around?
What was the inception behind the canopy tour? Because that's a new thing.
Yeah.
So how was planning it and all that? What's the most exciting part about it?
Yeah, well, that's a project Neil had in mind long ago. Our master plan included that. Just again, another view of the zoo, another way to look at things. Combining the adventure park with the zoo, that really helped to do that because
it kind of bridged
it's
the gap.
Oh wow, there you go. I'm going to use that.
Tell me you're in marketing without telling me.
Bang! Bridging the gap.
Yeah, that's
connecting the dots.
So and it's been named the Neil Anderson Canopy Tour because he just
retired, right?
Yep. He retired. So it is adventuresome. It's more than just a boardwalk in the sky. It's you need a little. I mean, you could do it even if there's some chance. It's easier if you don't have little kids behind you jumping.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's
our CEO Brad, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we need to get him on that.
Oh yeah,
He's terrified of heights.
Okay. Yeah,
he would be so funny to watch on that.
It's got good the sides you can hold on.
He'd be gripping.
You do see people.
He'd be gripping.
You see little kids just traipsing across it like it's nothing.
Like it's not
but you see people gripping both sides, and the more you think about it, the more wiggly it is. It seems like, but it is adventuresome. So I do think it was great for bringing that adventure park component into the zoo itself.
Absolutely, yeah.
And again, replicating it for the monkeys. And it's going to be fun too.
That is so exciting. I'm excited to go check it out.
I know. Me too. I can't wait to bring the kids. It's going to be so fun.
I can't wait to go tomorrow.
I know. It's going to be beautiful tomorrow. You should bring your nephew.
He's the only one who doesn't go to school during the day, so I might bring him.
Yeah. There you go.
It'll be exciting.
Field trip.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll connect you guys. We'll get that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Be good to go. Should I have Julie come too?
If you want to.
Maybe. We'll see. Okay, before I have so many questions about all of the stuff coming up this summer at the zoo, all of the events, all of the promotions, all of the stuff, but I'm a curious person by nature, and I have some animal questions.
All right.
We'll see how I do with this.
Okay. Otters are very cute.
They're very cute.
I heard they're jerks. True or false?
Some otters are jerks.
Some people are jerks.
In general, most otters I've known are perfectly reasonable people. And
do they hold hands when they sleep? Like I saw on the internet. They do, and there's pictures on the internet of them holding hands.
We have North American river otters. They're not so much into that. They're cuddly. They do cuddle up together, but that sea otter floating on your back, they do that because they want to keep track of each other. So you need to tether yourself together, cute. And we got hands. That's
but these ones don't float and hold hands.
Well, ours float, but it's not. River otters are in and out of the river and lake.
Sure.
There's not as much danger, I guess, of drifting out to sea
or getting eaten by an orca.
Yeah, true.
Or getting eaten by an orca. Okay, and I'm gonna have to apologize here because I think some of my questions might be dumb questions, but they're things
no dumb questions
that have bothered me for a long time. How does albino happen?
Oh yeah, genetic mutation. It's a genetic mutation and it's not all that. I mean, it's rare, but it's not. It comes up in most species from time to time. It's just the genes don't line up right, and pigmentation doesn't happen. You have no pigment. We have Lucky, our albino alligator.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's
which
what reminded me of
is
that.
kind of a stupid thing to be. If you're a basking reptile, albino, no pigment,
Not ideal.
Not a good idea.
Oh,
Does he
because he
get
can't
sunburn?
camouflage very well.
It can't camouflage and sunburn. Again,
Yeah, does he get sunburn?
they're
Oh.
basking reptiles.
Yeah.
Much of their day is spent soaking up the
Wait, they can
sun.
get sunburned?
Anything.
Albino
I
anything has
suppose.
no protection from
so
the sun.
what do they?
So
Do you put aloe
so
on
that's
him?
why they are so very rare.
Yeah.
Because they do hatch out from time to time. They rarely survive
really.
in the wild.
Mhm.
First of all, as you mentioned, cryptic coloration isn't there.
Yeah.
They're easy to spot and get
Yeah.
eaten by a heron.
For sure.
First week. But the ones that do survive, that first sunbathing
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's-
session is lethal.
my word.
So Lucky at the zoo lives in a very shaded environment.
Environment,
yeah.
Sun is
Oh.
we keep the sun away from Lucky.
that is. I never thought about that. But valid.
Yeah, I know that. I'm a little bit mind blown here. I don't
Yeah,
know.
wow.
It seems so logical, but
So
I never thought of that
you
before.
can get away with the lack of pigment, if you live deep within a deep dark forest or
Mhm.
jungle, but it does not work out well if your life is spent out in the sun.
Wow. Okay. Another dumb one for you.
No such thing.
How do penguins survive the summer?
Good question. And polar bears.
Well,
Yes.
our penguins at the zoo are African black-footed penguins.
Okay.
They're African penguins, so they are actually from the southern coast of Africa.
Wow.
So,
What?
yeah,
There's penguins in Africa?
yes.
I told you, you're walking into
South Africa. So our penguins have trouble with cold temperatures. We have to keep our penguins indoors if it's cold.
That's insane.
What? For real?
I guess we should have read the plaques at the zoo.
I know all of this is probably on there, but I'm just
Yeah,
like,
probably.
I look, I'm like, cute. Look at him play.
Look at him swim. That's funny.
Okay. So I have another one. I'm really sorry. I am really letting myself be vulnerable to my idiocy.
Yeah.
How much do the giraffes have to eat?
Oh, a lot.
Really?
It
I-
seems
How many
like
do you guys have now?
We have two at this. We have a male and a
there was a-
female.
it seems like they're so big, and it feels like logically in my brain it doesn't make sense. And I know there's dinosaurs that did this too,
But they're just
so big
herbivores.
and they just eat leaves, and it just
Right.
doesn't make sense.
And in general, that's true of a lot of herbivores. There are a lot of large-bodied
Yeah.
herbivores.
Yeah.
even cattle and
oh yeah,
Oh, yeah.
elephants,
Horses.
and
yeah.
you're correct. They've got a much more efficient system for
Okay.
processing leaves. They've got most of these animals have multiple chambered
Same.
stomachs, so they get every ounce of nutrition
Sure.
out
Sure.
of everything they eat. And
Wow.
but you are correct. They need to eat a great deal
Okay.
to be able.
Yeah, it's just
to
like you
survive.
were saying, we talked about the feeding of the giraffes earlier, and it's like, yeah, you go there and there's lines of people. There's lines of people to feed the giraffes, and I'm
Yeah.
sure they're eating. But it's like every time I see it, I'm like, this just doesn't feel like enough for you to be this big.
Yeah.
Well, of course, they also get giraffe chow at the zoo.
Chow.
Not something that wild giraffes would be.
So they're
privy to,
lucky.
but
They're
so
fortunate.
they are able to get a lot of their calories in a pretty concentrated
Mhm.
form,
Mhm.
where they
Mhm.
don't need to spend every hour of every day.
Do you have any animal
Searching.
questions?
I do. What's the newest little baby there?
Ooh,
Newest
okay.
little baby. I think our most. There's some young birds, but they grow up so fast
Yeah,
that they don't. So I think the animal most identifiable as a baby is probably little Tatsu, the monkey, who's about 2, I believe.
I think
now.
you're gonna meet Tatsu
We-
tomorrow.
We do have some. They're still in our quarantine facility, so they're not out where you can see them. But some young chickens for the children, some chicks.
I'm not a bird gal.
Same.
We have a tawny frogmouth, which is a bird,
Okay.
an Australian. You might like them. They're very fuzzy looking birds. They're
Oh.
soft feathers, kind of. They almost people mistake them for owls frequently because they kind of
Really?
have big round heads.
Ooh.
Really?
They're
I can
actually
get down with some owls. I like
Honestly,
owls.
if it's furry,
they have a furry appearance almost. They're actually related to whippoorwills and birds like that. So they have some really cryptic coloration and behaviors. They kind of freeze in stick formation.
That's funny.
But our frogmouths, tawny frogmouths, Australian birds, right now they are sitting on a nest, trying to look all cryptic, but sitting in a basket. So
Not that
look,
gross.
I'm a dead stick. You're sitting in a cute little basket. That was what they chose for their nest.
Gotcha.
But they're sitting on eggs right now, so our fingers are crossed that we'll have some little fluffy chicks in a month or so.
That's so cute.
I have more. I could
Yes.
do this for hours.
Yeah, for real.
Why do the peacocks get to walk around and nobody else does?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, peacocks are basically the variety we have at the zoo are basically a domestic species.
Okay.
Our chickens walk around in the children's zoo. They
Oh,
usually,
yeah.
They usually
Yeah.
stick to the so peacocks are a little bit of chicken equivalents. And they're polite about not leaving. They'll go across across the street to where there's some picnic tables, hoping for some crumbs.
Oh, of
Do
course.
they
There.
fly?
But they can fly. Yep. In fact, they roost.
That's terrifying.
They roost ridiculously high up in the white pine trees on the ground.
I'm sorry, that sounds terrifying.
Can you
to see
imagine
flying
a
bird.
peacock coming down from one of those trees?
And in the
It would look
morning
like a
they
phoenix.
squawk and very
Really?
interesting noises.
What are they?
Wow.
I don't think I've ever heard the peacock squawk.
Oh yeah, they do a lot of calling, especially early in the day and maybe
Okay.
in the
Wow.
evening.
They're not native to.
No,
Where are they from?
their
Or-
predecessors
Yeah,
are
that's what
and they're not really changed much from the wild species, which are from India.
Oh, India. Okay.
Yeah, but they've been bred in captivity for so long that the captive peafowl are not. I mean, that's a situation where we have probably changed them. They
Yeah.
would not be good candidates for release into the wild because
Valid.
we've.
Okay.
Is our climate? Are they cool with our climate?
Yeah, they do pretty well with our
Okay.
climate. We do bring them inside in the wintertime, partly because several of our birds are older, and the older they get,
They want to
cold
be
weather
warm.
starts to.
What does a
Not a heating
baby? What does a
pad.
baby peacock look like?
Little chicky when they're very small. They're little. Actually, one of our varieties of peafowl we have a sex-linked gene where the female babies are yellow and the male babies are brown. It's interesting stuff. But
Are
they
their eggs
they look
massive?
like no, their eggs are bigger than a chicken egg, but not a whole
Wow.
heck of a lot bigger.
Interesting. Do you guys still have that old turtle?
We have
Yes.
Aldabra tortoises. Yes.
Yeah, he. I haven't been there in a while since I was younger, but he was massive,
He's still massive.
very huge.
So, how old is he?
We don't know the exact
Oh,
age.
okay.
That's fair.
They came from a facility that didn't have good record keeping. So we're not sure. I believe. Oh, and I could be wrong. I've
That's okay.
there are so many animals to keep track of.
We're gonna go
But I
500.
think-
We're gonna say it's 575
No,
years
I
old.
think they're
just so we get
they're
more people to
younger
come.
than me. I think they're in their 50s.
But don't they live like a
They can live
substantial
to-
amount of time?
Their lifespan is they can live to 100.
Wow, that's crazy. Should we get into summer events before we get too far?
How much time? Oh yeah, we should probably.
I just have so many things I want
I
to
know.
You know, we do have Mother's Day coming up this weekend.
Before we get there,
Okay.
I'm really sorry. I have one more
Sure,
burning
of
question for you. Your favorite animal at the zoo?
Oh, you know, that's a hard one.
I know, it's like picking your favorite kid.
It is.
Yeah.
It's very much like, who's your favorite child
Maddie.
or teacher?
I literally knew it.
So yeah,
I love you, Iz.
I don't know if I can pick. I don't know if
Yeah.
I can pick. And you know, there are some animals who are your nemesis. I mean, there are some
Ooh.
animals who
Fair.
you know, there was.
I mean, fair.
When I was a zookeeper, there was an elk whose whole existence was he was
In
just
spite
waiting
of
for a
you.
chance to make my life difficult. And,
Try
but you know,
me.
I'm
Try
sure
to.
I'm sure there are teachers you could talk to who are in similar situations.
Yeah.
That one kid,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
you know,
yeah.
you still like them.
The
They're
one
the
kid
challenge, and
Yeah.
you don't
that you'll
dislike
never name
them.
your kid after.
Oh no, I had a Johnny, and it was all. Believe my wife's a teacher,
Yes.
so
okay.
trying to name our children.
Yes.
Oh, that makes it difficult.
I had a Claire who was
No.
just
My best friend's a kindergarten teacher. That's how she is too. I could never name my kid Michael.
yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. All right, I'm so sorry. I wanted to make sure to get that question in before we kind of shifted over to some stuff going on at the new zoo, for sure. And you had just mentioned Mother's Day. So what do we got going on for Mother's Day?
This coming weekend on Sunday, Mother's Day, moms get in for free.
Oh,
The zoo and the canopy tour as well.
nice.
Free for moms.
Ooh.
And we also have a few Wary's Summer Bloomers is providing some flowers to hand out. We've got some candy to hand out as long as supplies last.
That's awesome.
For moms.
Speaking as both a son and a husband, if you've not gotten your Mother's Day gift yet, you can just be like, "Hey, honey, I'm taking the family to the new zoo."
Day.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lots
it's
of
perfect.
fun.
It's a little last minute. Even Amazon might be tight right now.
Yep.
So bring your wife or your mom on a day to the
Go
zoo.
out to
Are
brunch,
you kidding me?
get some
Yeah.
flowers,
Yeah.
go to the zoo.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's more? What could mom love more than that?
Yeah.
Little time. You get to see the prairie dogs. Which, if you were to ask me that same question, I would say the prairie dogs.
You could watch them for hours.
I love the prairie dogs. They pop in and out of the holes.
Yep, they're very cute.
Mm-hmm. You don't know what we're talking about, do you?
I do know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to think of my favorite animal at the zoo.
Okay, we're gonna come back to that. I'd like to hear.
Pending.
Yeah.
See, it's hard,
Yeah,
right?
It is. That's difficult.
Yeah. I love the prairie. I think they're so funny.
They're
Yeah.
fun.
So we have the Mother's Day free
Yep.
entry.
Free for moms, yep.
All day Sunday.
All day Sunday.
Okay, all day Sunday. So that would be the 14th.
That sounds
Sunday
correct.
the 14th, I believe. Yes. So what do we got? What else we got going on this spring?
Not too far off. Our Zoological Society is hosting an event called Sippin' Safari. It's something they do annually. Fancy food and drinks, and it's a fairly exclusive event. Selling tickets now, so you can find those on newzoo.org as well. And
Yes, you can go.
an added feature of that this year is we're constructing this giant addition to our giraffe barn. We want to be able to have an actual little herd of giraffes instead of just the pair. Maybe have some babies someday. So we're building as we speak this big addition to the giraffe barn. It is getting very close to being finished. The timing is going to work out that the party goers at Sippin' Safari are going to be able to be the only people who get to go into this. It'll be just ahead of the giraffes being in the space. Before the giraffes get in, we'll have the people in there.
That is so
Seeing
cool.
it from the giraffes' perspective.
And is that open to I know you
days
sell
before the giraffes get in there themselves.
I know you said the tickets are being sold, but
Yes.
are the ticket sales open to the general public?
Yes.
First come, first serve kind of deal?
Yes, absolutely.
She's buying.
She's
buying,
online.
She's buying
looking it
tickets
up.
right now.
I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's an evening event.
What time
It's-
is it? Oh,
Yep,
beat me
evening
to it.
event.
Yeah.
It's really a nice, relaxing walk around the zoo and
Very cool.
again
you
treats.
can feed the
and-
penguins.
Yes.
Yeah,
you
we
can
have
do
things like that going on. You can buy tickets to feed the penguins or the otters, who are not jerks.
I was.
Paw.
I knew an otter who was a jerk, so it's okay. There are a few out there.
His name was Mike.
And I will never name my son Mike.
That's funny.
Oh, that's that's hilarious. What about any special event days this summer as people? Because I know right now is kind of the time where we're like, oh, Memorial Day is coming up. Just this morning we had the summer press conference for all the events down on Broadway. People are starting to fill up their calendar. I know you guys do a lot of cool stuff in the summertime when it's your busy season as well. So anything to put on the calendar? Anything that people should pencil in?
Yeah, well, Memorial Day is a good time to come out to the zoo. It's the usual stuff going on at the zoo, but the weather is finally getting there, and all the ponds are up and running, and all the animals are out, and the mud has
Yes,
dissipated
right.
a little.
Subsided a bit.
The ground has solidified.
Yes,
Yeah.
things are getting pretty.
Yeah, yeah.
So and again, go our website can tell you every
Yeah,
little
Cool.
thing
absolutely.
that's coming up.
Ooh, I'm
But
so
I think we've
excited.
mentioned the big ones in the near
Cool.
future.
All right, awesome. Anything that we haven't, like, I feel like I've asked you so many questions and we covered so much ground, but I don't want to leave anything out. Anything else new at the zoo this year? That maybe folks who were there a bunch last year or the year before, something that they might see that is not the same as last year.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have had a lot going on in terms of new construction. The giraffe addition we just mentioned is huge. We've also demolished the old snow leopard exhibit, which was our oldest,
Yeah.
Yeah.
ugliest
I remember it.
exhibit. It wasn't, it met the cat's needs. At that time we had previously we had elderly snow leopards who didn't really want to do a lot of climbing and
Ah,
Sure,
gotcha.
that makes
gotcha.
sense.
but now we've got a younger pair
Ooh, a
and
spry new
and
snow leopard.
yeah, so we've actually wiped out what was there and built a new building. We're
Cool.
still in the midst of, we haven't quite started building the new habitat yet, but that's just around the corner.
Sure.
We're the Zoological Society is still doing some fundraising for that because, of course, as we plan it, we keep coming up with new little features that we'd love to include. So if you love snow leopards and want to help
I
make
think
their
snow
lives
leopards
better,
are
contact the
gorgeous.
Zoological
That might be-
Society, and that'd be a great way to help some animals out.
That might be my second favorite animal. At the
They
zoo,
are
actually. They
beautiful.
are so pretty.
Very
I love it.
beautiful.
And they're just like, what's the word? They're like majestic.
They are
Like
They are.
very like
Yep.
smooth moving.
yes,
and
sleek
like,
and
yeah.
and adorable, and yes, they're great. So that's coming, and that's again still under construction,
Yeah.
but definitely if you've been at the zoo in the past and see the difference between what we had and what we are concentrating right now on trying to do better for some of the animals we have versus bringing in, leaving them as they are and bringing in something new and exciting.
Sure.
We definitely have plans for things down the line, but right now our concentration is really doing right by those snow
Loving on the
leopards.
ones that are in there.
Ab-
Love
Absolutely.
that. That's awesome. All right. Well, Carmen, before we go, we briefly touched on this. But a lot of our listeners, we are, the Tourism Bureau and this, people from around the region and around the country listen. So we've mentioned this a couple times, and I would love for you just to give a brief overview of what the adventure park is, because you hear zoo and adventure
Yes.
park, and it's like, I know what a zoo is. What's the adventure park, and what is it doing at a zoo?
Yeah.
So could you just, I feel like we've talked about the canopy tour and connecting the
Yep.
adventure park and all that. Just give an overview of what people can do at the adventure
Yeah,
park.
the adventure park is amazing. It's
Mhm.
and it's a great option. Sometimes your kids reach that age where they're no longer quite so impressed with the animals and are a little too cool for that.
Yeah.
But the adventure park, man, it's great for them. It's great for adults too. It's a lot of fun. So the reforestation camp, there's this historic fire tower that's been there, since I know my grandmother used to talk about climbing up there on
Yeah.
summer picnics, and
I have
well-
vivid memories of climbing. Katie has. This is what it's like for this generation.
Yeah.
They have their childhood on their phone.
Exactly.
It's crazy. I'd have to call my mom, and she'd be flipping through the album.
The album, yeah.
Anyway,
Yes.
that's us on top of it though, so
Right.
that's cool.
Now you can jump off.
Now
of
you
it.
can jump off.
Exactly. So
With the
that's
zip line.
that's the zip line, and they're dueling
Yeah.
zip lines. You and your friend can each be on a zip
Yes,
line and
great.
racing each other down.
Love that.
So that's lots of fun. It's and that stepping off that fire tower is
Yep.
a bit terrifying.
We should have Brad do that too.
Yeah, we
Oh,
should.
yeah,
That'd be fun.
just the climb up there might not be
Yeah.
in his
No, I'd get him
Gross.
up there, and then he'd be all freaking out and just push him.
Yeah.
and then there's also a climbing wall.
Yep.
There's also just the ropes course of
So isn't it like
complex-
4 or 5 stories or something?
Yeah,
It's
yes,
massive.
yes,
It's so
yes,
cool.
and
It's
got
very impressive, like when you just look at it from the ground.
yeah, so many different components and
Yeah.
so many challenging. It's
Yeah.
it's
Have you done
it's
it?
very cool. Yes, I've done all of the things.
I love it.
They
I've done
actually
it all too.
they actually switch out some of the adventure or the
Oh, really?
climb or the
Ropes course
structure ropes
things?
course
Yeah, keep it
components from
fresh.
time to time. So
Yeah.
I probably haven't done everything that they have on there.
Very cool.
I don't do it that often.
Except every morning getting our exercise in.
And there's also a kids course, a
Okay.
little simpler version for the
Yeah.
little ones, so they can still be in on the adventure
Sure.
with
That's so fun.
something that
Yeah,
they're
that
actually
is just
able to do. So it's great. Yeah, and we also at the base camp there at the adventure park,
Mhm.
we rent bikes and in the wintertime skis and snowshoes so that you can get out in the reforestation camp, which is run by the Brown County Park Department. We work really closely with them on a lot of things.
For sure.
But you can get out on the trails in addition to the adventure park, and
How cool.
there's a campground out at the reforestation camp
Oh,
now
yeah,
as
that's
well. Yep, so we've got a
My
little camp
goodness.
shop set up in our base camp as well.
So I will leave our listeners with this. If you're planning a trip to Green Bay, you can just book a whole day at
Oh,
this
a whole weekend,
in this
absolutely.
region. We've been kind of going through like the different regions, and you know,
Mhm.
this is kind of our stop up in the Swamico New Zoo area with you here today. And so we're just kind of showcasing how in each place you can spend a day or more. Like, so if someone's here for a 3-day weekend or something like that,
for sure.
don't think you're going to go to the new zoo for the afternoon.
Right.
You need to plan a day, because there's the zoo, which can be a full day if you want it to be, the adventure park, the canopy tour, the reforestation camp, and hiking. So as you're making your summer plans and coming into the region, make sure you leave that time and make sure you spend the whole day at the zoo area. So all right, well, do you have anything else?
Mm-mm.
I could ask animal
I know, I
questions.
can
for
sit here and
yeah,
ask
we can
questions
do this
all
all
day.
day.
but I'm done making a fool of myself and my lack of wildlife knowledge. So
No, that's why
we'll
we're
do it
here
again.
to help
Yeah.
people understand the animals.
Yeah, for sure. We will. We'll definitely have to have you back on. Check in, maybe sometime around Zubu.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I love Zubo.
Yeah, it's the
Anyways.
best. We do a whole fall event series, so we'll
Oh,
make
great.
sure to bring you
Oh,
back.
I'd love to come back. Yes.
To talk Zubu, the very, very, very popular event that happens at the New Zoo and Adventure Park every single fall.
That's right.
So make sure to watch out for that. But first, go enjoy the zoo and the Adventure
Warm
Park
weather.
this summer. Warm weather is upon us. Carmen, can you hit us with where they can go find all the information?
Yep, newzoo.org is our website. That's your one-stop shop
Perfect.
for figuring out what's going on out there.
Perfect. And of course, you're on all the socials as well.
Yep, got Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook,
and-
Instagram. I think we've shared a lot of your
Yep.
stuff on there. So go check that all out and have an adventure.
Great. Yeah, I hope to see everybody out there soon.
Yeah. Thanks for stopping by. Katie, can you hit them with our socials?
At Discover Green Bay on pretty much everything except Twitter. It's Discover GRNBAY.
You got it.
Website, greenbay.com.
And of course, make sure to check out all of Katie's handiwork on the blog, greenbay.com/blog. We have a bunch of stuff new up there.
Coming up this week.
And we do it. Yeah.
It's been a busy first couple days.
And we're
so-
going to watch our socials as well for what Katie's going to do with
Yes.
Carmen at the zoo tomorrow.
Fun.
So make sure to check all that out. greenbay.com/blog. Lots of fun stuff coming. Lots of fun stuff already up. And of course, all the events that Carmen just talked about at the new zoo are on our events calendar as well. greenbay.com/events for everything you need to plan your weekend here in Green Bay, including the new zoo and adventure park. Carmen, thank you so much. This was so much fun.
so
Thank you for
fun.
the invitation. Yeah, this is a great time.
I can't wait to have you back on. All right.
Can't wait to do it.
And as always, everybody, get out there and discover Green Bay.
Do it.
See ya.